The year Amara turned 38, she started doing a small thing that she told no one about. When she felt the familiar contraction, the one she had spent 3 years learning to recognize, the one that arrived in her chest when a conversation moved towards something large, when her daughter needed something from her that was inconvenient or overwhelming, when she felt the pull toward the response her own mother had modeled so completely that for most of her life it had felt just like the appropriate response, she would stop. Not always, not yet with the consistency she wanted, but often enough to notice she was doing it. She would stop, and then she would take a breath, and she would ask herself, not dramatically, not with like a big ceremony, what do I actually want to do here? Not what do I feel like doing, not what is my instinct. Those were already answered. She knew what her instinct was, had known it for years, had watched herself follow it, and had watched the cost of following it in her daughter's face. The way the face did a thing it had learned to do, a small bracing that was so familiar, it just broke her heart every time. What she wanted was the question. What she wanted, not what she had inherited. Her daughter was 7. Her name was Lila. She had her grandmother's eyes and her mother's hands and a laugh that came from somewhere Amara couldn't trace and was, she was almost certain, entirely her own. On a Saturday afternoon in October, Lila had been crying, upset about something at school, um, complicated social geography of second grade, and Amara had felt the contraction arrive exactly on schedule and had stopped and took a breath and asked herself the question and sat down on the floor. Just that, just sat down on the floor so she was at Lila's level, which was something her own mother had never done, not once in her childhood, not because her mother didn't love her, but because sitting down on the floor was not in the grammar, was not something the grammar had words for, and you cannot do what you have no words for. Tell me, Amara said. Lila told her. Took a while and was not entirely coherent and did not require solving. It turned out it required only the sitting on the floor and the telling and the being listened to by someone whose attention did not wander toward what needed doing next. When it was over, Lila leaned against her and was quiet for a moment. Okay, she said finally. Okay, Amara said. They sat on the floor a little longer. Outside, the afternoon was doing its October thing. Amara thought about her mother, who was alive and difficult and loved her in the grammar she had available, which was real love, limited love, the only love she knew how to give. She thought about her mother's mother, the woman she had never met, the one whose outline she could trace in her mother the way you trace a river. She thought, I am sitting on the floor. She thought, this is where the line ends. Nobody sees this work. This is the thing about what is hardest, and also, in a way, the thing that makes it real. The private decision, the one made in ordinary moments, in kitchens, in living rooms, on floors, when no one's watching and there is no applause, and the only witness is you and the person in front of you who doesn't yet know what happened. It is not the work that gets talked about. We talk about therapy, about insight, about the revelations that arrive with the force of something significant. Those matter. But the work that actually changes what gets passed on is quieter than any of that. It's the breath before the response, the question asked of yourself in the half second before the instinct deploys, the sitting on the floor, the tell me, the staying. When the staying is hard and grammar you inherited says this is where you leave or go silent or make the feeling smaller so it fits inside the tools you were given. You're doing this work in private, in ordinary time, without ceremony. You will not always succeed. There will be Tuesdays when the voice comes out of your mouth before you catch it, when the contraction wins, and when you sit in the kitchen afterward with the full, uncomfortable weight of what just happened and have to begin again. This is not failure. This is the nature of pattern. It requires not one decision but 1,000, made repeatedly in conditions that are specifically designed to make the old response feel inevitable. But it is not inevitable. You are proof of that every time you stop and breathe and ask yourself what you actually want to do. Here is what no one tells you about being the one in a lineage who decides to do it differently. You will not see most of the results. The change you are making is not primarily for you. It is for the person in front of you and for the person they will one day be in front of, and for the kitchen they will sit in 30 years from now on a Tuesday evening, and what they will or won't find available to them in that moment. You are building something that will be used by people who don't know you built it. This is the work that has no audience. This is also the most important work there is. Amara sits on the floor in October. Lila leans against her. Outside, the afternoon light is doing what afternoon light does in October, going golden and then going, and the floor is hard, and she has things to do, and none of that is the point, really. The point is the floor. The point is, tell me. The point is the line drawn quietly in an ordinary moment that changes what comes next. You're also the new one. And it starts here. It starts with you.